You're one of them as well. What happened to you?
Well, we've been trapped I'm a doctor, and we've been trapped in our home like up to now for 3 days with our kids and just supporting our guys and our men just to go and fight. And today, all the people, youth, scouts, doctors, even me, I was in the United States and I just came. I was just trying to begin with the system, and I volunteered, and we've been in the hospitals. And believe me, it was a disaster in the beginning. All the system was his system, and everything was down when he was down. So there was and a lot of brave doctors who get control in the hospitals, taking care of the patients and the victims, and giving support for the whole Libyan families and the whole Libyan people.
As far as you're aware, have the military units in Benghazi now joined the protesters?
Hello?
Hello. Have the military units in Benghazi, we had reports that the military in Benghazi had joined the protesters. Is that something that you are aware of?
Yes, they did, and we received a lot of bodies from them, a lot of victims, a lot of deaths from them. God bless their souls. I mean, they are truly Libyans.
They gave you a number of the victims. Are these military victims, or are they the protesters?
Both. We had both victims from both sides, the ministries and the civilians too.
I'm afraid I wonder if you could bring us up to date, though, then, with the number of casualties, if it's possible to estimate them. And
As I told you before, because we don't have a system right now that taking care that can give you the exact number, but I can give you like something. It's more than 300. It's more definitely than 300 deaths among our people since the beginning of the revolution over here.
And do you have the ability to cope with these casualties? We also heard that many of the wounds were from very heavy weaponry. Can you confirm that? Has there been any explanation from the military?
We never had experience about that before. So I guess most of the doctors just used their guts and did it. You know what I mean? We had no equipment. We had no planning before. Everybody stepped out and just did what he has to do. That's what's going on around here. Every single doctor, he's in the hospitals. You can see scout leaders, scout girls. You can see what they call it, the Red Crescent over there. You can see even the casualty of the people coming, bringing supplies, bringing medication, whatever the hospital needs, and they will go back and fight and come and send some other people to help us too. I mean, we didn't lack support at all. We had our support system, and we're proud of it.
Thank you very much. A doctor in Benghazi giving another eyewitness account of events there. More than 300 deaths, she believes, in Benghazi alone. There have been reports of violent clashes between anti-government demonstrators and supporters of Muammar Gaddafi in Tripoli as well. We heard from a protester who was taking part in a march towards the square, the Green Square, where marchers are gathering.
1 hour ago, I don't know, a good 1,500, 2,000 people now gathered. They blocked all roads. They burn anything that's owned by the government on the way. I mean, we're now burning a picture of the president. That's why the noise is so loud and everybody's happy. There's women on the balconies screaming and singing and loving it.
And this is all happening in Tripoli?
Yeah. And we're walking now towards the Green Square. We're going down the town. These people you can hear next to me now are screaming, obviously, chants of, "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Come out if you're a man. Where are you?"
Which square are you heading towards?
I believe we're heading towards the Green Square. To be honest, nobody controls these people. You know, we just do what we want. But at the moment, there's no police, there's no army, there's no security forces. Everything's been blocked off by the protesters. And, you know, as we cross the town where apartment buildings are filled with people who live here, we are picking up people on the way. You know, everybody's been waiting for this, and it's finally happened.
A protester in Tripoli speaking to my colleague Stephen Cole. We also spoke to another eyewitness in Tripoli who described what he saw in the Libyan capital. There were reports earlier of protesters taking over the main square, as we just heard.
Unfortunately, we are late. We have been late from the Green Square because these people use live ammunition, and of course people cannot resist live ammunition. We reached to the gates of the square, but they got us out of the gates of the square. There must be some kind of security meetings at the moment because the Green Square is devoid from security people and from any movement. People are refusing to sabotage and cause any damage. Everyone wants to get into the square.
Well, demonstrations in Libya are coming on the heels of the popular revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt. They're also sparked by some specific events in Libya, though. Those include the arrest on February the 15th of the Libyan lawyer and human rights activist Fatih Terbil. Terbil represents the families of prisoners, mostly opponents of the regime, killed by Libyan authorities 15 years ago. Terbil has been asking for an investigation into the massacre and the government's subsequent cover-up. He was eventually released, but the protests have continued. 2 days later, Libyans staged a day of rage in an effort to oust their ruler, Muammar Gaddafi, who's been in power now for 42 years. One of the demands, a constitution for the country. Lawyers demonstrated in the eastern city of Benghazi to call for that change. The US then says it's deeply concerned by the reports of deaths and injuries in Libya. Libyan dissidents say the US needs to do more. Let's talk to one Libyan dissident once again who's been giving her analysis over the last hour and a half or so as we watched Saif Gaddafi's speech. That's Najla Abdurrahman. When one thinks, though, of the military now, we hear from that eyewitness account in Benghazi that the military appears to have switched sides, although no one, I mean, as always in these situations, no one's ever sure what that means initially. Do you have an understanding then of how unified the military is, how that might be possible? Does that fit into a geographical issue of east and west and so forth?
Actually, all of the different forces, armed forces, let's call them, involved in Libya now, there are several different forces. So there's a military, which I believe is made up of about 130,000 soldiers. But there are also different battalions. So for example, Khamis, one of Muammar al-Gaddafi's sons, has his own battalion. It's called Khamis's battalion, and it's known for being the most vicious out of all of them. Basically, they're his own personal thugs, and they're located for the most part in Tripoli. And then you have something called the Revolutionary Committees, and these basically are the vanguard of Muammar al-Gaddafi, and they're the ones who kind of execute his orders, and they're also armed and they're also very dangerous. And so, and then of course you have the unconfirmed reports of the mercenaries.